Welcome everyone to Grower Coach. Ken Salvale here today, just having a look at water features. And this particular water feature is one that we've worked on over the years, and it's ready for a good cleaning. So I thought this is a good opportunity to chat a little bit about water features. And meanwhile, our guys here are just going to be cleaning out the water feature. They start with a fine spray to get the debris from in between the rocks. And then they'll come back later with a bigger blast, like a big pump hose, generally about, it doesn't have to be really high pressure, but it has to be a good volume of flow to rinse things out. And on this particular water feature, there was some good things and some bad things. The skimmer particularly was a bit of an issue. It's too small for the size of the pond, so it's one of the things that I really feel could have been better on this particular one. In particular, there's quite a few trees around, so when you do have a lot of trees around, you're going to have a lot of debris falling into the pond, so you do need to have a big skimmer that can handle a lot of debris and that takes the big stuff off the surface right away. So easy to do, but all part of the planning when you very first start. This one has 2 pumps in it. It's got a separate pump house. Most of the newer skimmers have the pumps built into the skimmers, which is kind of nice. And one pump is typically good enough these days. This particular system also had a sand filter in there. Sand filters really are good for swimming pools, but not so good for water features. So that's something just to be aware of. And yeah, definitely have to talk to your local expert on water features and find out some of the information before you start. So this particular one, we have added some chemicals into it due to the amount of algae and debris in it. So after we got it all washed and cleaned, we put in the algicide and a type of a chlorine type product, which we got at the local pond and pool supply. So we always talk to the experts in the industry that know all about ponds and hot tubs and that sort of thing, and get the best advice. But remember that once you do put these chemicals in, you're not going to have plants and you're not going to have fish in them, because this stuff will keep pretty much everything under control. The thing I really like, particularly about this water feature, is the amount of beautiful rocks. I'll often say that if you have beautiful stones, you know that's your biggest battle when it comes to water features, to get interesting looking rocks. Well, this particular one, every single rock is gorgeous. It's really ancient looking. It's got lines, striations. It's got all kinds of interesting little aspects to it. So the rocks themselves are one of the key, most important parts of any water feature. So I keep mentioning that. This one's a little busy for my liking. Like, the rocks are gorgeous, but there's a lot of small rocks, and I would have just suggested maybe having a few really large rocks that were quite a bit bigger than the rest, and sort of evening it out with small groupings of small rocks, which I think would look better in the long run. But what a beautiful thing. This is a gorgeous water feature. It's one of the best that I know of, and I think that they just look better and better all the time. And fun to have nearby, this right at the entranceway. And yeah, it's a beauty. Other things about the rocks, again, if you have good rocks, you're going to have a beautiful water feature. It just helps the whole process. So picking out good stuff, really important. You want rocks that have different kind of lines in them. These stones have striations in them. Many of them have lines, or some of them look eroded, just look really ancient, which is a nice touch for stones for your water feature. So I really do love the stones that were used for this particular water feature. As I was saying, I think it's a little busy for my liking, but that just means that we need to use more larger stones. So one of the key things when you're doing water features is to make sure that the sides of the water features are built up fairly high above grade. The one mistake that people sometimes make with water features is that they will actually build it in the lowest spot in their yard, so that if there's a flood or a big rainfall, guaranteed the water is going to go into that pond. That would be a really bad mistake. So always try to build your pond up, or at least develop a mound or a little hill or something, and build a water feature on that, so that it's, at least if there is a flood or if there's water that comes in, Remember, you want to keep the mud and you want to keep the pretty much any debris from getting into that water feature, especially mulches. So compost mulches are going to be the worst thing that you can get into your water feature. It's just going to turn the water green right away. At the beginning of this video, you notice that there was a lot of algae in there, and that's just because the property had been left for a little while and hadn't been quite kept up to its normal standards. And so once you let the algae grow, you gotta get it out of there. And that's another reason why in this case we did use some chemicals to reduce the the effect of that algae. You really have to kill it is what you really need to do. So anyway, those are a few tips today on water features. It's just it's one of the things that I really find is one of my favorite topics, and I really haven't touched much on the water features so far. So I do have a class available that I talk about some of these things right on the growercoach.com site. If you check in under the courses or classes, you'll see that there is one that says all about water features. And so if you're thinking of building a water feature, it's really wise to get some sort of input on that before you start. And it just makes all the difference just to get the right components together and get a basic understanding. And remember to talk to your local professionals at the stores where they sell the pumps and supplies. You need to know the measurements of your pond, the approximate gallonage, and the approximate flow that you need, and also what is the elevation from where the pump sits all the way to the top of the waterfall. That's one of the key important measurements that you need. And the distance from the pump to the top, so that we know, obviously how long the run is going to be and how high it goes up. So anyway, I guess that's it for today on Grower Coach. We will endeavor to get you some more videos coming out here fairly soon in regards to water features and all aspects of landscaping. And again, don't forget to check out our courses on the website. So check it out when you have time, and have a great day. Take care. Bye for now.